Good morning, my name is Steve Hyatt. I'm one of the owners of the Bottger Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Old Town, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Today we're going to learn how to make blue corn pancakes. The main ingredient in blue corn pancakes, amazingly enough, is blue corn. It is a native corn. It's predominantly used here in New Mexico for all sorts of things, for pancakes, for tortillas, for scones, for muffins. You can even get blue corn encrusted chili rellenos at some restaurants in northern New Mexico. It's really good flour. And one of the things you have to think about when you're using blue corn is it needs, or any corn for that matter, cornmeal, is it has to be softened before you can use it. So we're going to put 120 grams or a cup of blue corn meal in a bowl. Add a tablespoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. And give that a quick stir, and then we're going to add a cup of boiling water and let it sit for about 15 minutes before we continue on. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, you need to cover it to keep the warmth in, and people will say, well, or we'll go ahead and put saran wrap on it, but I don't like to use saran wrap like that. So I just take a plate and put it over the bowl, and we're done. The next thing we're going to do is beat 2 eggs. So there we go. We've got the eggs. Now it's important to always have room temperature eggs. So next we're going to add our fat to the pancakes. I like to use olive oil in this recipe. I think it adds a nice component to it, and it's 4 tablespoons. Of course, I weigh everything, so 4 tablespoons of olive oil happens to be 55 grams. So there we go, 55 grams. And then from there, you always want to whisk the oil into the eggs before you add anything else. It helps make things more tender in cake-like products. And then we're going to add our yogurt. Now, yogurt, you could add milk. When I first started doing this recipe 17 years ago, it did have milk in it. But since then, and butter for that matter. But over time, I was looking at recipes for Italian olive oil cakes, and I said, wow, I wonder what olive oil tastes like in blue corn pancakes. So I added it. And then decided to add yogurt to add some more protein. And so we're going to add 8 ounces of whole milk. I like to use whole milk yogurt. And this happens to be Greek yogurt. To the eggs and oil. Want to make sure it's all nice and smooth. We're going to add this to the blue corn. And you want to get all that good stuff out of there, so take your spatula and there we go. And then go ahead and incorporate that. And now you can see it's starting to get nice and loose, ready for the flour. So now we're going to go ahead and get our flour mixture ready. This is basically a cup of flour, 130 grams. I like to use King Arthur all-purpose flour for this. It's a really great flour. It works well with everything. And to that I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of baking soda and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And we're going to give that a quick stir and add that to our blue corn mixture and incorporate that. Now for pancakes, and basically any quick bread for that matter, you don't want to stir this until it's smooth. You want some lumps. And one time I was watching Alton Brown, he said 10 strokes, no more, no less. And I don't quite agree with that. I think it's 12 strokes, no more, no less. So here we go. I think that's about 4 or 5. And you can see where we're going with this. So this morning we're going to be serving our blue corn pancakes with the first course of baked pineapple. And then as a side, we're having smoked chicken and apple sausage. Now, when talking about sausages that are that big, I've discovered that using sous vide to pre-cook the sausage really makes a huge difference. Now, sous vide is basically a hot water bath that has a circulator. And that's what this is right here. It's the sous vide circulator, and it keeps the water at a constant temperature.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. So you'll notice for sous vide, you actually have to have a bag that where all the air has been taken out of, and that's what I've done here. I've got 2 sausages, and they're cooking to about 133 degrees. I have them in there, 30, 45 minutes. I mean, they're pre-cooked. So all we're doing is bringing them up to temperature. And after we're done with this, we will put them on a hot pan and brown them and serve them. Okay, so we're ready to start making our blue corn pancakes. You'll notice that I have a baking steel here that I use for a griddle. And it's warmed up to about 350 degrees or so. And we're going to be cooking our pancakes in clarified butter. I make my own clarified butter because it doesn't burn. It's the solids in butter that actually burn. And there we go. Put that on that griddle. And while that butter's melting, what I do is I use this to scoop the pancakes onto the griddle. Spread that butter around a little bit. And then we just take 1 scoop, put her on there. And you'll notice how letting the pancake batter hydrate for about 10 minutes really makes a difference. You see how it's all, the baking soda has and baking powder have caused it to rise and incorporate. It's very nice. So what we haven't talked about so far are piñon. Now, piñon is a local variety of pine nuts, which everybody knows about. They're a little bit more flavorful, and we roast them. I dry roast them in a pan, but we just sprinkle it onto the pancakes. And wait for them to brown. As you can see, we've got our sausage browning after it came out of the sous vide bath, and our pancakes are ready to come off the griddle. I like to heat up my plates and basically get our pancakes onto our plate and ready for final plate. And here you go. Bon appetit.